I don't think we can start this show any other way than paying homage to my man in the bottom left by playing this.
From Green Bay, Wisconsin, Mr. Kennedy!
Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson in the building. My man, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me, you guys.
When you hear that sound drop, this just gives you flashbacks of like good old days back in the day. Like, can you still do that the same way nowadays or no?
I still do. I still actively wrestle. I'll be hitting it this weekend. I'm wrestling for the Juggalos for JCW in Detroit this weekend. I'll be hitting it.
Hey.
It really, to me, it's just amazing. I'm really, really blessed to be able to do this thing and to be remembered for something as silly as just doing my own introduction and saying my last name twice. That's not lost on me, you know. Like I had a lot of hard work, but I've had some luck too along the way.
Well, I would say this before we get started, man. First of all, we thank you. We really appreciate you. We're all big fans of you and your work for so long. And we want this to be a show where we give you the flowers and let you know how we feel about you in the ring, outside the ring, and just kind of share your story about what you got going on, talk about your career and stuff like that. So we're very happy to have you. We're very blessed. And man, we couldn't wait for tonight, bro.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Does Terrence or Kenny want to start off? So let me know what y'all want to do.
Kenny, you can take it.
Yeah, I'll start off. Hey, Mr. Kennedy. So, you know, as you went through your whole intro, you know, and I just heard from also the grapevine as well, like how you got this great way of introducing yourself. I would call it like, you know, as the Michael Buffer of professional wrestling, to introduce yourself. Because I heard that you also used to do this at basketball games. You used to introduce, you know, a lot of the players, and, you know, that stuck with you. So how does it feel like, you know, a lot of us fans, you looked at as the only person that would announce themselves. You came in and said, no, this is not how you should announce. Let me show you how to announce. Bring the magical microphone down. How does that feel to be the Michael Buffer of your own entrance music? I
mean, to hear you say that, first of all, like, is crazy, because really Michael Buffer was my inspiration when I was doing the announcing back in the day. You know, like in fact, I used to do my version of his thing. I was in high school, so I could get away with all the copyrighted stuff. I would say exactly what he said. And yeah, at some point, somebody just suggested you should say the last name twice, kind of like they used to do in old boxing. And so I did it, and it stuck. Like, I got positive interaction from not only the people that, you know, the other students and families of our students, but people from the opposing teams would come over oftentimes and say, like, hey, I'm from Chilton, but my kid plays for the other team, but, like, keep doing that. That's great. Really love your announcing. And when I got out of high school, I just completely forgot about that. Honestly, it was like that chapter was closed. Never thought about it. Got into the wrestling business. Didn't think about that for 6 years. And then I went to OVW, and Paul Heyman took over. When I first got to OVW, Jim Cornette was writing T, and then something happened. He ended up leaving, and Paul Heyman got the pencil, so to speak. And Paul Heyman, one night, like after 3 weeks, said, "Go out there, cut the ring announcer off, and then you kind of do it like this." And he sort of imitated or gave me a variation of what I do today. And he said, you know, cut him out, cuss him out, cut him off, cuss him out. And then you do your own big introduction. And in the moment when I was in the ring, I just hit my last name twice. And that was the thing when I came back through the curtain that stuck. It was like the boys were like keep doing that. That when you said your last name twice, that was it. And it's interesting because like wrestlers are always the best, I think, gauge to see like what's going to stick, because we've seen everything. We kind of know that we understand the ins and outs of the business. You know, when you see something that, oh, that's going to work, keep hitting that. And 5 weeks later, I was making my debut on SmackDown.
That's awesome.
What we got, T? Go ahead.
Okay. You kind of want to segue. You mentioned like you joining SmackDown. I know there's a lot of conversation, obviously, around John Cena retiring, and you guys all shared like the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah.
I guess with his retiring and it being a big deal now, what does it feel like to have been a part of the group and a key player in that kind of took over for the Attitude Era that was like so like looked at as like the pinnacle, and you guys carried the torch right after that. So to see, like I said, John being like kind of anointed now, but more so being a part of the era that was able to kind of carry the ball. How did that feel to be able to like take wrestling into the next generation?
It's kind of crazy to hear you say that and to just sort of sit back and realize that, because I never thought, I didn't even know what our era was called. I didn't even know that our era had a name until like 2 years ago. Somebody was like, no, I think it was Chris Masters said, well, no, we're part of the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know about it. But yeah, I was an Attitude Era guy, like I loved, that sucked me in. And now to hear people say, like, I just saw a meme today and it was a bunch of guys from my era. And it was like, wrestling will never be like this again. And I was like, at the time, I honestly thought that our era kind of was missing something. I was not a fan of the PG era at all. I hated that. I hated the fact that I couldn't say dang or darn it. Like honestly, I was told like don't come close. Don't even Vince said like, if you say freaking, I know what you mean when you say freaking, I hear fuck. So and I guess the one thing that I was able to do in TNA was like that sort of my version of the Attitude Era. They let me say whatever I wanted to. The training wheels were off, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But no, to hear you say that is I pinch myself that I've been able to be a part of this business to begin with. So
yeah. And I mean, to Terrence's point about the SmackDown and all that, like, and the Ruthless Aggression, the fact that I believe Ruthless ended 08, you were still with the company until 09, and then PG era starts to come in. So I'm like, damn, 1 year changed where you can't act a certain way, you can't say certain words, because like it's like Attitude Era. After that, Ruthless came in and they kind of toned a couple of things back because there was no Monday Night War no more. So they feel like, we're the only big show in town. We can kind of relax now. But to hear you say that you got limited to what you could say is kind of crazy.
During the Ruthless Aggression Era, we were always also like, I couldn't say, like I had this list of words that we couldn't say. It was so even I feel like the PG era started way before people realized that it had started.
Mm-hmm. Mm. That's crazy. I want to circle back real quick. So I'm very interested to know the life that you live now. Like, first of all, I'm going to make sure fame is good, health wise is good, what you've been up to. I see you got the Wrestling Academy, Mic Check podcast going on. So how have you been able to adapt, not being as active in the ring, but now you're still involved in the sport?
Yeah. So I run a school 4 nights a week. And like you said, I run my podcast. I'm doing appearances. I wrestle on the weekends. I'm doing probably 2 to 3 wrestling appearances a month still. And I'm still actively getting in the ring with my students. I'm still at a point where I'm still taking bumps. And I like to be very hands-on with my students as much as I can possibly be. My wife sometimes is like, stop it, stop bumping, stop taking bumps. But I feel like I have to show them the right way to do things, or the way that I feel is the right way. So yeah, life is good. I'm still hustling. Things are just different now. I'm not in front of the camera, so to speak, as much anymore. Like, I'm not in the limelight, but I'm helping people learn how to do that. I've had a really, really good run. If it all ended tomorrow, if something happened to me and I had to completely hang it up, I'm pretty satisfied with the career that I've had in the wrestling business. And I have what this business has afforded me, the experiences that I've had, the people that I've met, the things that I've gotten to do, the places I've gone are extraordinary. And I want to share that with as many people as possible. Right. Like, if you come to me and you say, I want to do that, and you're willing to put in the effort, I want to help you. I want to help you get there.
Kenny, go ahead.
Hearing you say that, just like, just a lot of like hard work, dedication, but like, it's like you just went through all these different walks of life, all these different motions, but now you're in a different sort of way, a different shoes, and now how this is working. So that really like how it blew up for your US champion, US title run. So like I saw when you came on, man, like you was, I know you started your first match against Funaki, and then a lot of matches, then you held it in with the US title, really kicking it in with the heel persona. I mean, it really worked, because this is a guy that's always going to come in, announce, but also too, he's also going to kick your ass in doing so. So how do you feel that, holding on to the mid-card title, like it really gave a real bump? Like, that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing more competition with the mid-card title, and, is respected more than, a lot of times than the heavy title. So what was like your thought process when you were holding on to that US title, and what was like a connection that you wanted to the fans to embrace? What did you want them to see? What story was you going to tell them?
I honestly just wanted to tell stories. I wanted to entertain people. I wanted to make people feel a certain way. And whether, I look at wrestling as acting. It's like making a movie. And the director comes to you and says, hey, here's my vision. Here's what I see. Can you get me there? And to be able to sit down with your opponent, the other actors, and okay, I think they're going to act this way if we do this. And I think that, and you have this vision of people are going to emote a certain way if we do this. And then you go out there and you execute it. And when you actually are able to, when you hear that crowd pop, or you hear the crowd boo, whatever it is, like sometimes boos are just as, when people would boo me, like that was music to my ears. I was like, I'm doing my job. So honestly, that's really all I wanted to do, was just point me in the right direction, tell me what you want out of me, and I'm gonna do my best to give you that. And yeah, like getting titles, I was able to, I got the United States Championship when I was in the WWE. I got the Money in the Bank briefcase. Almost, I was a misdiagnosis away from, I literally like 24 hours away from winning the World Heavyweight Championship because of a misdiagnosis. And I won some titles in TNA. But at the end of the day, the titles are props. And ultimately, a writer says, there's these two names, Kennedy versus Undertaker. And if he circles your name, that writer circle, it's not real. I didn't really win that title, But in saying that, it is important. It is important because the company is putting their stamp of approval on you. Like, you can carry this. I'm giving you this ball to carry. But my point in saying all that is ultimately I was just a company guy. I wanted to go out there and do what the boss wanted me to do. And if the boss wanted me to win, I was gonna do that.
All right. T?
What was you talked a little bit about like, having that shift from, WWE over to TNA. And I feel like that was probably the one time, kind of to Randy's earlier point of like, now there's more competition, right?
Yeah.
What was that like transition like for you from going from WWE to TNA, kind of at the height of, TNA's height, you know what I mean? Like actually making a new competitive splash.
I knew going over that TNA just was not at the time. There just was no direct, hard physical competition to WWE. And I knew that, but I knew that there was a possibility. And when I got there, the locker room, everybody, whether it was office or locker room, all felt we have something special here. We got a really amazing group of talent and writing staff and attitude, and we can do this. So our attitudes were very competitive. At the same time, I knew that, I never thought like, going head to head with Monday Night Raw was, hey, we're gonna put our best foot forward, but like,
yeah,
I didn't have delusions of grandeur.
Hey,
you good, T, or is me?
Oh no, yeah, please, Randy, got that. That was a good answer.
No problem. All right, so staying with TNA, I'm gonna read off a couple names: Sting, Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Earl Hebner, Gail Kim, Abyss, Ken Shamrock, Awesome Kong, Raven, Tracy Brooks, Rhino, Bob Ryder, Mickey James, the Dudleys, the Beautiful People, Don West, and Mike Tenay. Those names are currently in the TNA Hall of Fame. I seen you come back and do a match back in September of 2025. You are a former 2-time TNA champion. Do you ever think in the back of your mind, like, hey, maybe I am or I should get that call from TNA to be in the Hall of Fame? Does it ever pop up in your mind like, hey, what about me? Should I be in there?
God, I'm not that old yet, am I? Nothing against those. I should say Mickey James is where Mickey's not old.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, like I guess I really haven't put a whole lot of thought into stuff like that. If that's something that the company would like to do at some point, I would definitely be honored. I guess that's less important to me at this point than doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm not like it's something I'm not focused on. I'm not like, oh my God, I hope they give me the call. I hope they give me the call. I hope they give me the call. It's just like I love doing what I'm doing right now.
No, I hear that, but not because you're on here. I think you should be in there. That just be, personal opinion. Great names that I read off, but I'm like, hey, you've had a pretty good impact on that company. 2-time champion. I'm like, I mean, many people really say, and it's on social, you just got to find it, that they really give you high praise for your match with Kurt Angle. In the steel cage match, Lockdown, I just saw someone say it's 5 stars recently. Yep. And I said, let me go back and check it out, because either A, I never saw it, or it's been a while. So when I saw it, I'm like, okay, yeah, where was I in this time frame? How come I never saw this? Great match. You and Kurt told a great story. Do you regard that as one of or your greatest TNA match you ever had?
I think for me, it's my favorite match that I've ever done. It's my favorite match that I've been a part of. It's definitely in my top 5. And it's just like interesting backstory behind that. behind that match, we were given, we were told probably a month and a half, 2 months before that we were going to be doing this cage match. We were working a program that was going to culminate in a cage match at Lockdown. And they were going to give us like 20 to 25 minutes. They were going to give us, which is a significant portion of time for a television show or a pay-per-view to be able to tell your story. So we kind of planned it out accordingly. Kurt, normally most people that I've ever worked with, we figure everything out on the day. Like you get to the building, noon, you start planning things out. You might, if you know that you guys are working a week in advance, you might, hey, maybe we could think about doing this. But for the most part, it's done on the day. Kurt and I had that match sort of planned out, mapped out weeks in advance. On the day, Kurt came up to me, pissed. He was like, they're cutting our match by 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and he goes, we're going 23. He goes, don't worry about it. We're going 23. I'll take the heat for it. Now, in the wrestling business, if you go a minute over your time, if you go 45 seconds over your time, you better have a good reason for doing so. You're going to be answering to the boss the minute you walk through that curtain, because it's television, it's TV. You have other people have to squeeze their times and they've got to get, they got video packages they have to play. Everything is timed out earlier in the day. So, he said, we're going to go out there. And we went out and we did. And 10 minutes in, Slick was our referee. And he starts like, okay, guys, they're telling us to take it home. And we just kept going. We knew we're not taking it home. We got a lot to do. And I remember like Slick just like, he got a little more and more frantic as the minutes wore on. And he was like, guys, they're killing me. They're yelling in my ear. You got to take it home. And Kurt goes, tell him to fuck off. And which is funny because like he couldn't tell him to fuck off because he didn't have like an earpiece.
Yeah.
There was no two-way communication. And Slick just looked up at the camera like this and went,
like, what can you do, right?
And so true to his word, we came back through that curtain. Nobody said a word to me. None of the producers didn't look at me cross-eyed. They knew that it was Kurt, and Kurt took all the heat. The one person that said something to me was AJ Styles. And he was kind of pacing because he was getting ready for his match that he was wrestling. He was wrestling Ric Flair that night, which was important to him. And he just came over to me. He goes, Ken, I know that wasn't you. I know that was Kurt, but I'm disappointed. And which is like, that's even worse than, I wish you wanted to fight me. I almost wish that he was just mad at me. Yeah. Because AJ Styles being disappointed in me is worse than all that.
Kenny?
Man, like talking about that match, and this brings me to this, like, regarding, let's add Kurt Angle. Which was like your favorite feud from either TNA or the E? Which one was like your favorite feud? You got Kurt Angle. You have also too, I would say like late into it, you had the beef with HBK. That was good when it was on Raw. But also remember the favorite that I always loved, you against Taker. I'm talking about that first blood match, the last ride, the casket match. Like, that would be automatically. So which one was like your favorite to do? I know it's like hard, they're all great, but like, which Kennedy do you think was like A1, like all caps Kennedy? Like, I would say Fight Night 96 or 98 Mike Tyson Kennedy. Which one would you put?
If you're holding my feet to the fire and I have to pick one, I would say I'd say my feud with Bubba, with Bully Ray, that ended the Aces and Eights was like, yeah, I feel like that was a really good. We ended that phase of our careers with me, Mike checking him. We had a casket match over in, I believe it was Manchester, England, and I Mike checked him into the casket, and he's like, he's a big guy to begin with, right? And during the day, they came to us and they had this tiny little casket. It looked like something like you'd see on somebody's front lawn during Halloween as like just a prop. It was like one of those, one of those old school caskets that was like kind of diamond shaped.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at this thing and we're like, there's just no way that guy is going to fit inside that thing. So they had to scramble all day and they built a casket. And this casket was, I mean, perfect. It literally, like, there was maybe a centimeter on each side. And I was able to, like, he lined himself up. And the finish was a mic check into it, which normally I go down with the mic check. Like, I fall to my back. On this one, I kind of had to, like, roll to the side and just, he takes his own bump. He hit that thing so perfectly. But yeah, that was a really good one, really fun one. It's hard for me to all of those feuds that you just laid out there. My feud with Taker, my feud with Batista, Kurt, Shawn Michaels. Like my second favorite match is me versus Shawn at Armageddon 2007. Mm-hmm. I also had some amazing matches with Shawn on Monday Night Raw. When I say amazing, I don't mean that I was amazing. I just mean like I was very, very pleased with the outcome, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was the match that like you felt like, okay, it's clicking. I'm starting to really connect with the audience. They're really like buying into who I am as Mr. Kennedy.
Oh boy. You know, it's weird, but I worked 6 years on the independents. And that whole time I was like, I just want to have a job. I just want to work for the WWE. I want to work for the WWE. And I'm so happy that it took me those 6 years to get there, because when I got there, when I arrived, I felt like I belong, like right away. There was no, I literally felt like I'm ready to jump into this. When I guess I felt like the crowd was finally starting. It happened almost immediately. I was very fortunate. Because of the gimmick, it was memorable. So like beginning of the night, I remember having this conversation with Dave Lagana. Dave Lagana was the head writer of SmackDown when I first started. And I remember standing backstage as people were filing into the building. And, you know, you hear it today. If you go to a WWE event, you'll hear as people are filing into the building, woo, woo.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like, and it was at the time, it was woo, Kennedy, woo, Kennedy. And I remember Dave, and I just like, I felt like, okay, man, this is cool. Like they're getting it.
Yo, it's funny Tara's gonna laugh, but it's funny you mentioned and I was like, okay, it's on the list somewhere. But Terrence is a big LA Knight fan. We've had convos on our show like, you know, who does he remind you of? And is this guy, that guy? Is he a modern day Mr. Kennedy? So I've seen you do previous podcasts and it's been brought up. How do you really feel about people saying that the similarities, the microphone stuff, the 1-2 word phrases? Do you look at it as a compliment? Do you get annoyed by people asking you about it, or do you feel like, you know what, it is what it is, and if he is, and you know, all power to him?
Yeah, I think I don't believe he's imitating anybody in particular. I think if you talk to him as a real person, you know, when the cameras aren't rolling, That's really the way that he is.
Mhm.
LA Knight is just a variation of Sean Ricker with the volume turned up. And he really is like that. Like, so I believe that if he's maybe taken inspiration, it's unknowingly. It's not intentional. It's like, of course we are inspired. There's absolutely nothing that's fresh, nothing that's new in the world of wrestling.
Mhm.
Like, everything's been done. There's no new moves, really. Like, somebody comes up with something like really, really new that you've never seen. It is like mind blowing almost.
Mhm.
I can't believe that somebody figured out a new move because everything's been done. So, no, I take it as a compliment, really, to be lumped in. He's not bad company, you know?
Yeah.
And I've gotten to work with him.
Oh, you really?
I worked with him a little bit at TNA, very, very briefly. And at NWA, I also got to do a little program with him. And I remember thinking at the time, this guy's the best talker in the business right now. That was when I was at NWA.
And it's also funny how the parallels is like, me watching you when I was younger, big fan. You can ask anybody in my family. Like, I had the Kennedy shirt. I love the gimmick. And I'm like, I want him to become world champion. Terrence, LA Knight fan, feels like I think LA Knight should be world champion at some point in time. I think he will be. It's just a matter of when they're going to pull the trigger. So it's like, it's just parallel. Like, yo, it's mimicking.
Yeah.
Are they going to give it to him? Are they going to give it to Kennedy? Like, what are they waiting for? So I hope that one day he does become world champion, because I feel the same way back then in 2007. You should have been world champion, but you said you were a fucking misdiagnosis away from being the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, literally. Like literally, I got called into the office after a SmackDown, and Vince said, Taker's hurt. We need to get the title off of him. We're going to have you come in next week and cash in your briefcase, and you're going to be our new champ, and laid out the scenario. And then the next week, Saturday, on a house show in Poughkeepsie, we did a double shot, which we rarely did. For whatever reason, we did a double shot that day. We were, noon or 1 o'clock in Poughkeepsie, and then a 7 o'clock show as well. And on the 1 o'clock show, it was nothing even, and it wasn't even, somebody asked me today if I was mad at him he didn't do anything to me. I literally took a bump. Batista gave me a clothesline, and when I bumped, I hit the mat, and I felt something pop in my tricep. And I rolled out to the floor, and I could immediately see it start swelling up and turning colors. And I thought something's seriously wrong here. Hornswoggle took me to the emergency room that night. We drove to it was Erie, Pennsylvania. He drove me to the emergency room. I got an MRI, which I fucking hate.
Oh yeah, me too. The worst.
I've never done an MRI. They're like, oh my god, I'm so claustrophobic when it comes to the thing.
You went in the circle ones?
Yeah.
Oh boy, no.
Like, it touches your shoulders, and it's every time you breathe in, it's like you can't go any further. So you're
it makes the noises.
Oh, it's so loud. It's
terrible.
So loud.
Terrible.
So I went through that, and then I went. They said, just go to your hotel room and sit tight. And the next day, Stephanie called me, and she said, Ken, you tore your tricep off the bone. They're gonna have to have surgery. You're gonna have to have surgery. You're gonna be out for 8 or 9 months. There's one problem. We still need to get that title off of Taker. So what we've decided to do, what the writing team has come up with, is Vince's jet is gonna come pick you up. We're gonna send a car service for you. Car's gonna pick you up. You're gonna fly to Penn State, where Raw was that night. Edge is gonna challenge you for the briefcase on Raw, and then he'll go on and do what you were supposed to do. And I, in the back of my head, quickly, I thought, well, I've got, like you said, I'm going to be gone for 9 months. This title is a year. I've got a year to cash it in. That would be great for me to just go away and then come back. But I'm not going to argue. Business is business.
Mm-hmm.
And so Excuse me. So all that stuff happened. Edge challenged me for the briefcase, called me a chicken. Nobody ever calls me chicken. And you know, them's fighting words, right? Like
that's right.
Which is kind of, it's ridiculous at the end of the day, but it's wrestling, so you forgive it.
So
and so went, dropped the briefcase, and then the next day I flew down to Birmingham, Alabama, where Dr. Andrews, who does like all the major surgeries for like sports, like, you know, Brett Favre surgery was done by, Bo Jackson surgery was done by that man. And I'm sitting on his desk on the end of his table, and he's like, that's not a tear. That's not a tear. And I was like, excuse me? And he said, no, that's you can tell if there's a tear, like you could feel a hole in there. And I don't feel anything like that. I can't find your MRI though, so you're gonna have to go get an MRI done.
Oh boy. No way.
So yeah, I went and got another MRI, and sure enough, it was just a bunch of blood vessels that popped and a lot of internal bleeding. So I was only gone for like a month. So my friend MVP always reminds me that I was a misdiagnosis away from.
Oh boy. Two more before I let Kenny go. Real quick, 2-part.
Kenny, you leaving us?
No. I'm
Go ahead, please.
Go next.
We ain't going nowhere, bro.
So Taker gets hurt, and they wanted you to cash in.
Yeah.
Before that, part one, what was the original plan for you with the Money in the Bank? Was it later on, certain individual? Because I know once someone gets hurt, they got to move up the timeline. So what if he don't get hurt? You got the briefcase. What is Mr. Kennedy doing? When is he cashing in, and on who? Did they tell you, or just kind of wait and see?
So I truly have no idea. What I said in a promo was that I was going to cash it in at WrestleMania the next year. That was what I said in a promo, and I thought that's fantastic. Like that'll be great.
So you really did what Seth Rollins did at 31, be the first one to cash in at a WrestleMania.
Yep. Wow. But why did he say that he was going to cash it in the next year? And then
he never. He wanted a few months before WrestleMania, and then it was the first ever cash in at a WrestleMania successfully.
Yeah. So I would have been the first guy to say that I'm going to cash in next year's WrestleMania, and then, well, who knows if hopefully I would have done it, but yeah. So the thing is that we're not privy, unless you're a guy like Cena or Taker or Rock. You're really not privy to information like that. And the reason for that is they really don't know who's the stooge. There's always a stooge. There's always somebody that wants to spoil the surprise. You know, it's like, and you just don't know who. So everybody keeps their cards close to their vest because they have to. There's always somebody that goes like, hey, don't tell anybody, but I'm only telling you this. I'm only telling you this, but I'm winning the title next year at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then that person goes on and goes, hey, don't tell anybody. But Anderson said he was, and that's the way it goes. So they really and then there's some people that just love to spoil. I don't know about you, but I love surprises. My wife and I are watching Sons of Anarchy. We're going back through and watching, we started at season 1. We're on season 7 right now. I don't want to know what happens. I like there to be a surprise. I can't imagine myself or my wife going and saying hey, let us know what happens and when it happens, just so that I can watch it and know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Can you go ahead? I'll circle back. So go ahead. You go.
Well, I got a little thing here. I know, you talk about you and tag team, you and your man, MVP, y'all tag team. But what was to say? What was to say? My man T talk about LA Knight. What was to say this? You and LA Knight, if we was to turn the clock on right now, you and LA Knight be a tag team, could be a susceptible tag team. Now here's this. I got a name for you. Because he says yeah, and you say Kennedy. So singular words. Here's the thing. I call y'all 4 syllables. Because if you put it together, there's one syllable. There's one syllable in LA Knights. You say yeah, but you say Kennedy, you clap it out. It goes with 3. So you put them together, you got 4 syllables. Yeah, Kennedy. So boom, you got it right there. Call 4 syllables.
4 syllables. It's tag team.
Yeah, 4 syllables. Boom, right there.
Okay.
Right there. Hey,
We like to have our own writers' room, Mr. Kennedy.
That's right. That's
I
right.
love it.
hey, but do you think that you as we talk about you, LA Knight, the mic skills, the crowd, I go to arena, everyone, says, prior, I was in high school, people was yelling out Kennedy. I'm like, your name's David, your name's not Ken. My name is Kenny. Like, I'm closer to say that, but like, you hear that, you hear people say, yeah, like, do you think that could really work? Like you and Knight being like a good tag team now, and possibly like, that would really work well as a faction if you was to turn back the time, like working well together.
I think that, I really do think anything can work. It's just, you got to have the right attitude going into it, and just, a little skull session. Like, you come up with some crazy ideas, and yeah, I think anything could work. Definitely. I think that, I think his mic skills are, like I said, I feel like he was one of the best talkers a few years ago. That's even before he got the WWE. I just knew that if he was going to get the WWE and they were going to put a microphone in front of him, that he was going to be successful, that he would rock it, and he has. So, and I think I'm okay on the microphone myself. So yeah, I think that pairing would work.
I'll get you the shirt. 4 syllables, man. I'll give you that
4
shirt.
syllables.
4 syllables.
Randy,
Hey,
put that on a t-shirt.
So what?
I said, Randy, put that on a t-shirt.
4 syllables? All
4
right.
syllables.
Done tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, come on, that's gonna already sell.
Yep. Go ahead, T.
I want to talk a little bit about like the like future facing of the business, especially as somebody like you said, like now you're paying it forward, right? Like you were able to, achieve your dream, and it's really special when you're able to, like the master becomes like the teacher, right? Like, so we talk a lot about like who we think is going to be the next faces of the business, especially with everybody who's carrying now, like being open about like, hey, I only want to do this another 5, maybe 10 years. But there's a lot of, new talent, which again, I'm sure you're very aware of. And, we know you got a chance to train Tiffy, if I'm not mistaken. So like, everyone always asks their Mount Rushmore question. I want to start with, who do you think is the Mount Rushmore of the next generation? So if you had to pick 4 wrestlers, and here's the caveat. It can't be anyone who has held a world title just yet.
Oh,
so it has. So I see is the highest I'll go.
Oh man. To be fair, like I don't watch a whole lot of, so I really, really cannot answer that fully.
Okay.
I will tell you,
I'll take my caveat off then. Whoever
Yeah.
you think is of the next wave that you would say, okay, they're going to be the face of the business in the next generation. Yeah, who would be your 4, male or female? It just who your 4 is.
I do think that Tiffy, and this is not just because I was her coach once upon a time, but I do feel like she's going to be like a mainstay. I felt that way from, she is going to be, she'll be in the Hall of Fame someday. If she continues to keep her nose clean, and nothing crazy happens, or she doesn't have some crazy injury or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Boy, I think what's his name? I'm terrible with names. Man, he did a segment with he was the United States champion. Vince did a segment with him at WrestleMania. He took a stunner from Austin, took a 6 stunner from Austin.
Theory?
Austin Theory.
Mm.
I really think that I haven't seen him in a while. So I don't know if he has what's happened with him. Like, is he still kind of a player? Or
I think he should be. He has not been on TV in quite some time. Don't know if it's injury related or whatever, but he has not been on TV in a long time. Still with the company, but just not on TV.
What about Carmelo?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that guy.
What is it about him that you are a fan of?
Just the way he carries himself. Like, he's not only is he an amazing athlete, but he carries himself like he's special. Like, I don't know. He's got that intangible.
Are you a fan of a certain son of someone you used to go up against? Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic Mysterio?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he calls Eddie Guerrero his pop, so just making sure that's what he says.
Hey, you guys, he looks so similar to, it looks like that might have been more than just a storyline, right?
We're sure Don might agree with you.
Oh my God,
Don will prefer that.
All right, so can we stamp that that's your 4?
Yeah,
Tiffy.
I'm sorry that I don't have a better, a more in-depth.
No, that's a great 4.
No.
That's a great 4. So that's Tiffy, that's Dom, that's Austin Theory, and that's our guy Carmelo.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody will argue against that.
That is a lot of new blood, and I think that really works well. So, hell yeah.
Let me ask this real quick. So, obviously, when you come to the E, I think you mentioned yourself as Mr. Anderson first. Then I think Paul Heyman said Kennedy sounds better. It's Vince's middle name, something to that degree, right?
Well, it was Vince. Just Vince had the thing about owning. He wants to own the name. So it was my first 3 weeks on TV. I wasn't on the active SmackDown roster, but I was on Velocity. I did 3 weeks of Velocity. First week was against Funaki, and then the second 2 weeks was against local guys. They just had me squashing local talent. And then fourth week, I was like, I think I made it. I think I get to use my real name. And then Johnny pulled me aside. Hey, Johnny, he said, Kenny, Vince wants to talk to you in his office. He wants to change your name. So come up with a name. And I thought, fuck. And so I called my boy Paul Heyman, and I said, look, here's the deal. I have to change my name. Do you have any suggestions? And we started brainstorming and just kind of throwing names out there. And I was Kamikaze Ken Anderson when I first started on the indies, and I had this logo, the backwards K's, that I had on my tights, and I had it made on I had some t-shirts printed up and stuff. And I wanted to keep that. I thought that was cool. So I just sort of said, if there's anything with a KK, that would be cool. I'd like to keep that. And so he, he was throwing anything out there. The thing that I love about creative sessions is you throw out let's throw out ridiculous ideas, right? Like he was saying, you need to pick something that's close to his heart, like his dog. His dog's name is Ruckus. What about Kenny Ruckus? We were throwing names out there like that. Nothing stuck. And then he said his middle name is Kennedy. And I just was like, I like that. I really like Anderson. I really, really, really want it to be me. But that's pretty cool too. I don't think anybody's there hasn't been a Kennedy before. And so when I got in the room, it was just what a crazy, I go from clawing and scratching and hoping that I'm going to get an opportunity to getting a contract, to going to OVW, to then clawing and scraping and scratching again to try to get to be recognized down there, to Paul Heyman, saying, you're the next guy out of here. He actually pulled me aside and said, you're the next guy out of here. And then on my 4th week at SmackDown, to go into a room with Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Johnny Ace, to have all those people sitting around in a circle, and like, it was just surreal. And Vince said, what do you think about a name? He had a bunch of questions for me. It was like a job interview, actually. And he said, what about your name? And I said, I really, really like Anderson. And he said, listen, the thing is, I don't want people thinking that you are that you're related to the other Andersons. And I guess to his credit, he didn't know if I was going to shit the bed or not. So I would have been you got Arn and Ole and Gene and Ken, he didn't want that to be the case. But I think more importantly, he wanted to own the name. Yeah. And so when I said Kennedy, his eyes kind of lit up and he just smirked and he was like, almost like he knew where that came from, like that had been a suggestion from Paul. Yeah. And he goes, do you like it? And I said, I really like Anderson, but you can call me dickhead if you want to. It's your company. And he just kind of smirked and he goes, all right. And he pointed at Kevin and he said, make sure he's got Kennedy on his Titantron when he comes out tonight. And that was it.
So now once you have this Mr. Kennedy name.
And so then I have to not forget to say, when I go out that night, because I'm so used to saying Anderson, to now I've got to switch it. So I remember being super nervous about that. Like, don't say Anderson, don't say Anderson, don't say Anderson.
So now when you have the gimmick, it's up to you to make it pop, to make it happen. Like, if someone never saw you wrestle, but they hear Mr. Kennedy, like, how would you describe? Like, what made you want this character to be loud, brash, an asshole? Just like, let me introduce myself. Like, how did you package that into why this is your gimmick now?
Well, it really was just me with the volume turned up. Like, the way that I am when I get, the way that I cut promos is the way that I get when I'm really pissed off about something. Like, I've had people like, oh, here comes the promo. Well, are you going to cut a promo on me now? I actually, it's kind of a funny story. When I was still in training and I was trying to figure out who Kamikaze Ken was at the time, I remember I was dating this girl and we broke up. And one of my best friends, I found out through the grapevine that one of my closest friends had hung out with her like literally the day after we broke up. And it was just like such a shocker to me. And I remember I was at my trainer's house and there was a bunch of other wrestlers there. And we were all kind of just hanging out. And I called this guy. I'm like, I'm going to call this motherfucker. And I called him and I cussed him out and I talked to him. And I was just like, and the stuff that I was saying to him was like, the guys were rolling around on the floor laughing, like enjoying it. And then when I hung up the phone, they were like, if you ever have a question as to what your character is, do that. And so it was, it was at that moment that I just realized That's all I really have to do is just be myself.
Mhm.
Be the way that I want to be. I always tell people, like, I get to do and say all the things that I really want to do and say in real life, but in wrestling I can say, oh, that was just my character talking.
Yeah. Kenny, what you got?
To a degree, right? Like not every scenario.
Yeah.
Well, always, traveling on the road. I just got to know, give you a series of these. What was your favorite city to perform in? If it ain't Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Melbourne, Australia.
Ooh, okay.
Why?
Because I met the most perfect human being in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have. My wife is from Melbourne.
Nice.
And it really is just a cool vibe. Tokyo is also another just crazy, amazing city. Love the culture, love the people, love the food.
Well, that too. What's city had the best food when you guys were on the road?
Good question.
And you know the place if it's still around.
Yeah, I'd say Chicago. What?
Hey.
The Waffle House. My wife says Waffle House.
Hey.
Can't go wrong with that.
All brown,
Can't go wrong with
awesome
Waffle House.
biscuit.
Can't go wrong with Waffle House.
Craziest fans.
Chicago has some amazing food. I really, really love Chicago's food.
Okay.
The one thing I had never been I had a bad experience with a deep dish style, just Chicago style pizza a long, long time ago. And actually, I think somebody did me wrong, and they just gave me deep dish, and they never gave me like an actual true Chicago style pizza. So I always like turned my nose up at it. And like 10 years ago, I went through Chicago, and somebody took me to what's the place that has are you guys familiar with Chicago?
Do you went to Giordano's?
Giordano's.
Yeah,
Giordano's. And it was just amazing. And the sad thing is that now Giordano's it's not only in Chicago, it's all over the country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's nothing like the original, right?
Not like the original.
Come to New York, come to the Bronx for some good pizza, man.
That's right. New York pizza. The best.
I love New York pizza. I lived in Jersey. I lived in Jersey City for a couple of years.
Nice.
So I spent a lot of time in the city.
Mm-hmm. So you're in Minneapolis now, right?
Yes.
So you live in Minneapolis. You're from Green Bay. So like, is it hard to pick an NFL team? Because you got the Vikings, the Packers.
Man, fuck the Vikings.
Oh,
yo, I'm a Vikings fan.
His favorite team.
I know, but damn.
Packers, bro. I'm a Packers fan. That's in my blood. When I met my wife, she was kind of like, she's from Australia. She didn't really know about NFL football too much, but she sort of thought she was maybe going to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I was like,
oh boy,
honey, if we're going to work out, we're going to work out.
I hate the Cowboys. T, what you got, T?
My last question, since we look forward for our Mount Rushmore of the future, I want to know, what is your Mount Rushmore as like a fan? Right? So, yeah. Who are your Mount Rushmore wrestlers? Well, sometimes we give a fifth if you really can't get it down to four, but yeah, who's your Mount Rushmore?
Austin. Steve Austin is number one, like my favorite wrestler of all time. We would not be having this discussion if it wasn't for Steve Austin. The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Kurt Angle, if you're going to give me a fifth.
That's not bad.
I'm not mad at that at all.
That's a great five right there. All Hall of Famers. And damn, Austin, Shawn, Taker / Kurt, and The Rock.
That's solid.
Yeah, no notes.
And you've worked with everyone except Rock, right?
Well, yeah, and I never really worked with Austin.
And Austin.
we did a segment one time on it was one of the anniversary, like Raw's anniversary, like a 25th Raw anniversary or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just gave me like a from across the ring. But that was the closest that I ever got to actually interacting with Steve on TV. Anything.
I'm gonna circle back with a few more before I let you go. Again, we're on social and we have a lot of wrestling fans, and I always see what's the phrase? I missed the 2000s SmackDown. The people love them some SmackDown from your era. So when you're in the mix of Batista, Undertaker, Edge, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, King Booker, Finley, Chavo, Eddie Guerrero, Johnny Nitro, JBL, Kane, Benoit, Rey Mysterio, Mark Henry, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, and your boy MVP. It's like a murderer's row of that roster. Like you hear that now, like, wow, all Hall of Famers. And you found your way in that mix to become the Money in the Bank winner at WrestleMania 23, your first ever WrestleMania. Like, how was that feeling like? And how far in advance did you know you were going to win that match?
Yeah, it really is crazy when you break it down like that, when you say those names. And we truly felt at the time there was the brand split, right? Like they had put a definite divide between Raw and SmackDown. And we really, truly felt that we were the A show. Even though we weren't treated as such, we thought we were put on better matches. We had better talent. As far as me knowing, literally, so when you put your matches together, as I said earlier, normally it happens on the day. WrestleMania is the rare instance where they'll give you like 5 days to put your matches together and actually encourage you to. They have times where they have time scheduled throughout the day where you meet and discuss. You go over it with your producer and the other wrestlers, and you sort of map things out. So we were working on this for 5 days, and for the first two or 3 days, Edge was going to win the briefcase. We were trying to build towards Edge winning, and then I believe it was 2 days before, it might have been the day before, they said, we're actually going to switch it. We're going to put it on Kennedy. So then we had to try to figure out, okay, how do we make that make sense and make that entertaining? And it was just, and honestly, when they told me, I try not to get excited about anything in the business. I try really not to get too excited about anything in life. Like if I know that we're going on vacation or something like that, we're going to go somewhere, we're going to go to Puerto Rico, I don't get excited until I'm there on the beach, like drink in hand. And sort of the same way with pro wrestling. So when they told me, I knew like that can change again, that could change tomorrow. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But yeah, and up until they hit my music, I was like, this still could change. Vince literally could go, Orton over, figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so about 2 days before.
And you just went on like, okay, cool. No nerves, no anxiety, just more like, because
no extra anxiety, really. It's just this is our job. At the time, I remember it didn't matter if it was pay-per-view or TV or a house show. The nerves for me were always the same. I always get certain kind of nervous before I perform. I just want to do well. I don't want to suck. Yeah. And so it's almost like you almost get sort of relaxed, in the big game moments.
Yeah. I got two more before I let you go. You perform both in TNA and the WWE. Now, many years later, they have a partnership.
Yeah.
Now it's like back then it's like, you know, you can't go here, you can't go here. Now they're crossing over NXT and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about them working together nowadays?
I love it. I think it really I don't know if you guys can hear that or not.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah. I'm in downtown Minneapolis, so I live
Okay.
literally like I hear that all day, every day. Well, I'm sorry. What was the question again?
The TNA WWE.
Oh, the partnership. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I do worry that they get too in bed and then there's not. It's like one. I just really hope that WWE doesn't gobble up TNA. I hope that we don't run into the same scenario that we had when I was in the company, because like when I first got into WWE, you know, TNA really wasn't competition at that time. There was no competition, so it was WWE or bust, and they held all the cards. And for talent, it was like, you know, hey, we're going to offer you this kind of money, and these are your, you know, this is how it's going to be on the road, and that's it. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Whereas now the boys have a little more say. You know, they can hold out. They can negotiate. They get paid way more than we got when I was there, for sure.
Yeah,
which is awesome. But yeah, I'm happy that that they have that partnership. I just hope that it stays just a partnership.
Got it. My last one, very important, because I read somewhere that that you mentioned you wouldn't mind working with AEW or getting a phone call from Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Again, us being fans, I would love to see you back in there, just getting in the ring at some point in time. But that was back in September. We are in November now. Have you gotten a call from Tony Khan, a Triple H, TNA to be like, yo, come back, do something? You know, what's the news on that?
No, nothing yet. But this business it's like if and when things happen, they'll happen very quickly. You know, nothing will happen, nothing happens, and then you're all right, and we need you on a plane tomorrow. So that's, you know, if it happens, that's the way it's going to be. But no, nothing as of right now. I want to contribute. I believe that I still have the ability to contribute, and I would like to do so.
Can I ask a follow-up to that real quick?
Go ahead.
Well, to that point, where would you rather be in any of those, you know, organizations? Would you rather be in ring, or would you rather be developing?
I think I still have some life left in me in ring, and I'd like that to be in TNA. Like if I could pick today where that would be, I would land in TNA.
Okay. Any what's the phrase? Like a wish list of people you want to work with in TNA that you haven't worked with?
Man, there's just so many. If you put me on the spot here, I don't know. That's the name of the game. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but what'd you say? Frankie. I did that
Kazarian,
little bit with Kazarian.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to. That would be definitely a good jumping off point.
Okay, nice. If you guys don't have any more, Mr. Kennedy, we thank you, man. We appreciate you. Big fans of you. Hope you get that phone call from somebody. We'd love to see you back in the ring. Get active out there. But having over an hour with you means a lot to us in our program. Again, big fans of you. You're more than welcome to come back anytime you want. Hit us up, and we'll make it happen.
I really thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you giving me the platform. If I might just add,
go ahead.
If somebody is in the Twin Cities area and would like to get into the wrestling business, I'd like to help you. And if you go to my social media, my number is all over that social media. I'll give it here. My number, direct number is 507-722-2776, as you can attest to.
Yep.
Send me a text, please. Don't call me. Text me.
I'm more texting than call. I hate calling people. Quick little text.
Yep. I love texting. Text me. I'll text all day. But yeah, just hit me a text, and I'm still taking bookings. I'm still doing interviews, wrestling shows, you name it. So
yeah, I did have one quick story, real quick.
Yeah,
you may not remember. My brother and I was in New Orleans during WrestleMania 34 convention, autograph, all that kind of stuff. And I was walking around, and I don't know if I still have it, but I had the phone, the recorder, and I saw you walking, and I saw X-Pac, and I caught you first, and I said, "Yo, Mr. Kennedy, can you do a drop for my podcast?" This is probably 10 years ago. And you say, "Hey, this is Mr. Anderson. You now listen to 2 out of 3 falls." And I'm like, boom. Ever since then, I'm like, I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere in the ether. But I always remembered you did that for me. You didn't have to. It was real quick, real nice and professional. But I always want to thank you. And I did find a photo of me wearing your shirt at a show at the Garden back in 2017. That's the shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, I have it somewhere. It's somewhere out
That's
there.
Cool, man.
If not, I get a brand new one. So you're just showing you my love and support for you, man.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It really does. Thank you for the support over the years. And again, thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Money in the Bank, former U.S. champion, 2-time TNA champion on the podcast. Have a good night.
You guys are great, man. Really, like, I know you said that I was your first. You guys have some good potential. Keep it up.
Thank you, man. Really means
Thank you.
And if we make it somewhere, I'll be like, hey, it's because of Mr. Kennedy back in 2025 coming on and really showing us that love and support.
Don't forget me. Don't forget me, guys.
I got you, fellas.